It's been a rough last couple of months for the Yankees. From a comfortable 7-game first place lead in the AL East to now being 6.5 games behind the Blue Jays. As much as the players have to play better, they tend to come and go. We have to look at the common denominator for the Yankees having the same problem for several years now. Aaron Boone. Also Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner for hiring Boone and allowing him to stay for this long and keep this complacent culture with horrible fundamentals that the Yankees have had for years. Oh, great. Aaron Judge, while having another MVP season, and this team would likely be in last place without, is going to be out for some time, while this team is already 12-22 since June 13th. Boone allows guys to get comfortable, and it's especially obvious when it comes to Anthony Volpe. No wonder why Volpe is regressing when he's only 24 years old, because he knows his job will be safe no matter what. Boone doesn't manage with enough urgency. He had the gall to tell Meredith Marakovich, he's a f***ing elite shortstop. There is no need to get angry at her over her doing her job, and even if she was rude to you first, we all know Volpe is not even close to elite. He's one of, if not the worst starting shortstop in Major League Baseball. I'm not expecting Boone to tell reporters that Volpe sucks, he needs to get out of here. We all know he does, but still, don't do that. But also stop lying to us because we're not buying it. In your own words,
it's right in front of us.
In Volpe's first 2 years, I thought maybe he's a career utility guy, but he can't even be that now. He actually gave me some hope to be a somewhat decent player back in mid to late May, but forget about that now. He's just kicking the ball around, can't even throw the ball in the ocean anymore, and he's been caught stealing on almost half his stolen base attempts. On top of that, he's hitting just .217 with a whopping .288 on base percentage this year. His rookie year, he won a Gold Glove and was a Gold Glove finalist last year. But ever since the 5th inning of Game 5 in last year's World Series, he's been costing the Yankees games with his absolutely piss-poor defense. We should expect our average high school shortstop to play better defense than Volpe is for the Yankees this year. Yet Aaron Boone is still trying to convince us that he's so special. He loves Anthony Volpe more than Steve Urkel loved Laura Winslow. We all know Volpe could not be worse. His time in pinstripe should be up. Yeah, I'm recording this while he's on a 3-game hitting streak, but boo-hoo, because a much larger sample size, he sucks. And great job ruining a solid outing by Carlos Rodon against the Blue Jays with, again, horrible defense. Volpe is just another example of how the Yankees are terrible at developing their own guys. Besides Robinson Cano and Aaron Judge, they haven't developed anyone to be a superstar for more than 2 seasons in the last 20 years. Gary Sanchez, Luis Severino, and Gleyber Torres briefly looked like they could become those next superstars that the Yankees actually developed, but they fizzled out after 2 years. With Volpe, the Yankees hyped this guy up as the next Derek Jeter, which sure wasn't good for him mentally, especially in a big market like New York. Boone may have only missed the playoffs once since he became the manager in 2018. Pretty hard not to make it consistently when you're given the best hitter since Barry Bonds and Aaron Judge, at least in the regular season. Yes, the playoffs are a different story, but regular season Aaron Judge is the closest thing we have seen to Barry Bonds in this day and age. Or when you have such a high payroll for all these years, how about Aaron Boone's postseason record? 22-23. Go figure, because he's won on talent alone every single year. The Yankees are 14-18 in one-run games and 2-6 in extra innings this year. This comes down to execution. The last 4 seasons combined, including this year, the Yankees are 81-86 in one-run games and 26-31 in extra inning games. Teams like the Milwaukee Brewers or the Toronto Blue Jays are well above 500 in extra inning or one-run games because they're better at hitting with runners in scoring position and are better defensively too. The Yankees have been horrible with fundamentals for all the years that Boone has been the manager, and that just has poorly managed team written all over it. A team that wins in spite of him. We can start with the fact that they're only able to deliver with runners in scoring position by hitting home runs. As great as home runs are, they're hard to hit, and even Aaron Judge can only hit one in 8% of his plate appearances. The Yankees may have driven in the 10th most runs with runners in scoring position, which isn't terrible, but their batting average with runners in scoring position is just just league average, and only the Red Sox have struck out more with runners in scoring position. Then there's all the problems the Yankees have in the field and on the bases. That 5th inning in Game 5 of the World Series last year, where the Yankees blew a 5-0 lead because of piss-poor defense and not playing smart, is the Yankees in a nutshell. The Dodgers even knew themselves, as it was discussed in scouting meetings, that if they just put the ball in play, the Yankees will make mistakes. Now, it may not have been Boone who made those errors. However, to not even go out for a mound visit to settle his team down after Volpe threw the ball at Jazz Chisholm's feet instead of taking the easy out at first was just horrible managing on full display. To let everything unravel from there instead of getting his guys to settle down, this is just the culture of the Yankees under Aaron Boone, and it shouldn't be acceptable. Things like Jazz Chisholm getting picked off at second in Game 2 of the ALCS last year, or why those of us who watch the Yankees regularly saw it coming from a mile away that if the Yankees were to lose the World Series, it would be in a humiliating fashion. The bad base running and defense are still a problem now. Yorbit Vivas not hustling or even sliding while trying to tag up from second to third. If Luis Rojas sent you, yeah, he's proven my point that I made last year that the Yankees are better off with no third base coach than him. Even if Rojas was the one who sent you though, he shouldn't need to tell you to slide like we were all taught in Little League. I understand even the best players make errors. They are part of the game. The Yankees tend to make them in the worst possible way though, and they made 19 in the last 23 games, and that's definitely way too many even for Little League. Against the Blue Jays, 4 errors in one game. Miraculously, Anthony Volpe didn't make any of them, the guy who's leading the league in errors. After the game, Boone said the Yankees are a top defensive team. He actually said that with a straight face. Are you serious? This team is -8 in outs above average. This team doesn't even look prepared a lot of the time and just loses games because of stupidity. It also doesn't help when your manager makes excuses.
I think it's here, and I think it's in this building we haven't played well.
That meltdown in the 5th inning of Game 5 in the World Series last year was at Yankee Stadium. Do you not remember? Then to follow up that game with 4 errors by making 2 against the Phillies at Yankee Stadium, Paul Goldschmidt had to rush a throw home with no force because Luke Weaver didn't do what we were all taught to do as pitchers back in Little League. You hustle to first base when the ball has hit the first baseman. Sounds familiar, right? Garrett Cole not covering first in that 5th inning in Game 5 of the World Series last year. This team never learns. Boone already owns the record for the world's most pathetic excuse, blaming the roof being open in the 2022 ALCS. This excuse of in this building isn't far behind, especially when your team has made 19 errors in the last 23 games. This is not the example a leader of a ball club should be setting, especially a team with grown men making hundreds of millions of dollars. When Boone snapped on John Boy for questioning how he answers questions,
Okay, he was everyone's different. Stop with the reaction of how a guy answers a frickin' question.
it made me wonder, do you not realize most people question your answers, not just John Boy? So maybe you're the one who needs to look yourself in the mirror, Aaron Boone. No manager should ever coddle his players the way Boone does either. When you're constantly making excuses for your players, you allow them to become complacent. He told John Boy his players are obsessed with winning. I don't think the Yankees want to lose, but I also don't see nearly the obsession with winning that many of us remember seeing with guys like Derek Jeter or Jorge Posada. Not even close. Aaron Boone also changes the lineup way too much, and I don't know what makes him or anyone in the organization think this is good for a player's rhythm. Please, someone explain to me the logic of Aaron Boone hitting Trent Grisham leadoff and having Paul Goldschmidt bounce around so much in different lineup spots. Goldschmidt was absolutely on fire to start the season, but since June 13th, he's hitting just .237. He may not be your traditional leadoff hitter as a 37-year-old first baseman, but not like this team really has a traditional leadoff hitter anyways. In the 34 games Goldschmidt's hit leadoff, he's hitting .288 with a .340 on-base percentage. He has been better with a bigger sample size in the cleanup spot, hitting .311 with an .825 OPS, so why fix what's not broken? Why have Trent Grisham hitting leadoff almost twice as much as Goldschmidt when he's hitting just .202 as a leadoff hitter? Even if you want to get away from traditional stats and into the analytics, I promise you there is not a single analytic that'll tell you hitting Grisham leadoff is even a little bit logical. Not only that, Jason Dominguez led off in the first game against the Mets in June and went 2 for 4. The very next game you dropped him down to 6th. I'm aware that he's hitting .304 while hitting 6th this year, but you can't keep shuffling his spot in the lineup. Put him in one spot and keep him there. Those times he went 3 for 5 against the Royals or 4 for 5 against the Reds and you benched him the very next game both times, can you please not ever do that again? The only thing that's fair when you're playing to win is the better you play, the more you play. Now Dominguez is 2 for his last 24, and I find it hard to blame him because of how much he's bouncing around with his spot in the batting order. Now his defense isn't much better than Volpe's, and unlike Volpe, he never was good defensively, and that's why he got sent back down to the minors last year. Well, why doesn't Boone defend Dominguez nearly as much as he does Volpe, since at least Dominguez has shown flashes of great potential as a hitter, which Volpe never has? It's just weird to me how much Aaron Boone just loves Anthony Volpe. I find it shocking that Boone actually played professional baseball for as long as he did and has a brother, father, and grandfather who also played in the big leagues, because he sure doesn't manage like it. Anyone who has some kind of feel for the game would understand the way he messes around with the batting order or benches guys when they played really well the previous game is how you get guys out of rhythm. It's not like this is just the beginning of the season either, and he's just getting a feel for these guys. One, we're past the All-Star break and it's almost August. Two, he's made the lineups as if he's picking out of a hat for years. You may sometimes need to change the lineup, but you shouldn't do it this much. Boone also takes way too long to make changes when necessary. He took until the beginning of this month to play Jazz Chisholm at second base, his natural position that he spent the winter preparing to play instead of third base. He wasn't so bad at third base last year, but he was pretty bad there this year, and Boone waited way too long to make the change. Last year, he waited until Clay Holmes had an ERA well over 5 for 2 whole months and led the league in blown saves before removing him from the closer role. He benched Gleyber Torres for not hustling last year, which everyone including myself applauded him for. If we really think about it though, that may have been more of a reactionary move than a proactive move, since the fans were demanding him to hold Gleyber accountable way before he actually did. The better managers are a lot quicker with making their adjustments. Speaking of Gleyber Torres, he was an all-star starter this year on the Detroit Tigers. This was his first all-star game in 6 years, and he got there while playing in a less hitter-friendly ballpark. He currently has a career high in on-base percentage and isn't too far off with his career high in batting average. The last 2 years, he only got going in the second half of the season. I wonder why. Maybe because he has a manager who actually holds him accountable all the time, not just when the fans demand it. You know what else? He's not getting shuffled around in the lineup so much. He's hit second for the vast majority of the season. He was great last year once he was locked into the leadoff spot. I will say Brian Cashman had a great offseason by getting Cody Bellinger from the Cubs for absolutely nothing after losing Juan Soto, and by getting Max Fried, which was especially important after Garrett Cole had to undergo Tommy John surgery. Getting Paul Goldschmidt has worked out pretty well too. Devin Williams has been much better as of late after a rough first month. I'll give Cashman all that, but he has not won a single World Series since 2009, while consistently having one of the top payroll roles in Major League Baseball. It's also him who hired Boone and is continuing to extend his contract when he doesn't deserve it. He needs to get rid of Boone, and no matter what he does at the trade deadline, I don't see the Yankees winning the World Series as long as Aaron Boone is the manager. Cashman got Ryan McMahon, who should help clean up some of the Yankees' defensive problems, but not all of their problems on offense, as a guy who hits home runs but strikes out a ton. And he's hitting under 200 with runners in scoring position. He's better than Yorbit Vivas or Oswald Peraza, but he doesn't make the Yankees that much better. No matter what else the Yankees do, this team is winning nothing as long as Brian Cashman allows Aaron Boone to coddle these players. I hope I'm wrong about that, but we've seen it for years, so until the Yankees actually prove me wrong, there's no convincing me otherwise. Cashman also needs to be held accountable for how bad the Yankees are at developing their own players, something they were great at in the 90s and that got them 4 championships in 5 years. Oh, how times have changed. That's it for this video. Do you think the Yankees can turn it around? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like. If you want to see more from me, please consider subscribing and turning on notifications to never miss out. If you're already subscribed, thanks so much for your support as always. And if you're a new subscriber, welcome to the team. Links to my social media are down below for my more immediate reactions to what's going on in the sports world. If you'd like to see my most recent video or the one that YouTube recommends, both are up above. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Go Yankees.